Hello friends, this is Wendy with Love and Stampin'. I'm excited you're here with me today. We are using Easter Friends and Daffodil Daydream stamp sets. Actually, Daffodil Daydream is a bundle. It comes with some dies. And we are going to make some really cute Easter cards today. There are no fun folds with these cards. These cards are just some fun ideas that I sat and created. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. We're using the basic border dies to cut a piece of basic white thick cardstock. I just need a little hill, so I'm cutting it off the end of this card base. I didn't have a scrap wide enough. I wanted something that was 4 1/4 inches wide, so I did that. And then I'm cutting the same little hill from soft seafoam cardstock. Now there are 3 cards that I'm making for you today, so if you hang in there till the end of this video, bravo for you, because it is a long one. But the ideas were flowing and I made a lot and I wanted to share them all. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee. If you're watching in the evening, have a glass of wine, whatever your drink of choice is, and hang out with me for about a half hour while we make cards. So I stamped this bunny rabbit in Sahara Sand ink, and I just love Sahara Sand. It is one of my favorites. It's just very soft and sweet. It's just such a great color, and this bunny rabbit is soft and sweet, isn't she? I just think she's adorable. I'm then taking the Early Espresso marker, Stampin' Write marker, and coloring the eyes of the bunny, and then we're going to stamp again. I'm also coloring the mouth. Now, really quick, I want to mention Stampin' Write markers are water-based markers, so you can color directly onto stamp sets and then stamp them. You cannot do this with an alcohol-based marker. So I do get asked the question often, what is the difference between Stampin' Write markers and alcohol or Stampin' Blend markers? And that is the difference. There are several differences, in fact, but one of the major ones is if you didn't have all of the stamp pads that you wanted from Stampin' Up, you could purchase a set of markers and you would be able to color your stamps and stamp them until you are able to collect all of your ink pads. So here I'm just going to layer that soft seafoam behind the basic white, and then we're going to cut the edges off of the soft seafoam, the excess. This is not meant to like give a ton of color. The goal for this card for me was just an extremely soft, subtle, sweet card for Easter. I didn't want something that was going to have any bold colors, and I wanted the whole card to just kind of have that very soft, like almost like a baby card in a way. Like this would be a great card to give for a baby for Easter. So anyway, you could replace the sentiment very easily from Happy Easter to congratulations on your new little one or something like that, because this definitely lends itself to babies, in my opinion. So here I'm just kind of deciding how I want my layout to be for this card, and what I'm going to do is splatter the background of this card with some soft seafoam ink. So in order to do that, I wanted to mask off the back of the card, and then I'm using my soft seafoam ink refill to add to my clear block, and then we're going to use the water painter to splatter it. Now, something I want to mention really quick is if you click the link in the description of this video under measurements and supplies, all of the supplies that I'm using today will be listed there. There really isn't a project sheet for today's cards because they're pretty basic in measurements. They're just all basic measurement sizes, the card bases. And so I didn't feel like it needed a project sheet, but I went ahead and created a sheet anyway that had the supplies and photos of the cards. That way, if you want to reference the ideas, you'll be able to print the photos. And if you want to purchase any of the supplies, they are linked in that PDF. Also, if you scroll down, there are links, images to all. When I say scroll down, I mean if once you're on my blog, scroll down, there are linked images for all the supplies that I used. Here I'm adding dimensionals to the top of the bunny, and then we're going to add glue to the bottom of the bunny and add him, and then we just have a few more pieces and we will be finished with this card. One of the things I'm adding to this card is the sentiment, and I'm doing it in Sahara sand. And I want to warn you, do not do what I do what I say. I should not have waited till after I put all my parts and pieces on to add my sentiment. You'll see me do it here at the end. That is not a good move, okay? Don't do that. Add your sentiment first. And the reason being is if you mess up, you're not having to start totally from scratch. So mine worked out fine, but had it not worked out okay, I would have completely messed up my card and had to start all over, or would have had to have found a way to fix it. Now here, when I'm stamping the butterfly, I made the decision to actually stamp off, even though So Saffron is already a light color. I remember I said I wanted this card to be really soft. So I went ahead and stamped it a second time and then stamped off. And then that is the butterfly that I'm deciding to die cut and use on the card. While I have it here, I'm using my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I do want to mention that this is on sale, 20% off through March 31st. So if you want one of these little cute mini machines, it's a great time to buy it. The regular price is $60 and it's on sale for $48. So it's a great buy right now. I also want to mention, if you love these Easter cards, I have an Easter card class for you. It's actually Easter cards and projects. And I partnered with my friend Tracy Bish in Australia to create this class. So you can either place a $35 order using the special host code for the class, or you can buy it for $35. If you live in Australia and you want to place a $35 order through Tracy, I will provide her link below the video, and you can place a $35 order with her and use her special host code, and you will get this class for free as well. So if you like these ideas, you're really going to love what we have in store for you. Tracy outdid herself with absolutely stunning, beautiful projects. So you'll definitely want to get in on our class. And it is only available for a few days, so you want to make sure you check that out right away. I'll leave a link below the video for that in the description. One for US, one for Australia. Okay, we have created little butterflies, as I said, and I put one on here, and then I decided I needed a second one because I felt like that area down below just felt a little bit too empty and vacant for me. So I actually stamped and die cut another butterfly to add. And so once we do that, this card will be finished. Now, at this point in the video, I do have 2 more cards to share, but I want to let everybody know who's watching that this is Saturday story time. So if you're not familiar with my channel, this is the point in the video where I start jumping back and forth between card making and story time telling, because that's what I do here on my channel. If that is not your to your liking, that's okay, we don't mind. But us friends here that hang out every Saturday, we like to have story time catch up. And I always look forward to my comments that you guys leave and share with me your stories that are either relatable to mine or sometimes funny things that you just share with me. And I just always look forward to that. So what is happening in Wendy's world? You know, we are getting ready for a garden. Yes, we are. I shared about my garden last year on Instagram. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram and you want to kind of know more about what goes on in my day-to-day life, that's a great place to follow me. Isn't this beautiful? Let's just talk about how cute this card is. So soft and so pretty. I just absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite. Out of all 3 of the cards I'm going to show you today, I think this one is my favorite. Okay, so here we're going to make chick cards. Now these colors are the color combo for my color splash, which is basically just a card making color combination that is meant to inspire you to make a card using the colors. However, if you are one of my customers, you order from me and you're in my VIP group and you make a card using the colors and you post it in the group, then you're entered to win prizes. And it's really fun. It's same for my team. My team gets to do that as well in my team group. Here, we're going to speed this way up because this took a long time. But basically, I layered Post-it note tape in stripe form and ink blended different color of stripes. And I just love this technique. I honestly could make every single card with this technique. It hasn't been something I've done in a really long time, and I really don't know why. I've just neglected to do it. So the one tip I will give you on this is you want to make sure that your pieces of paper are pretty clean, because that ink blending brush will pick the ink up off of your masking tape and pull it into the color that you're ink blending. So what you don't want to do, for example, is do what I'm doing here, that use the purple and then use the purple to do the next color, use the same strips to do the next color. You can see here I actually flipped them upside down so that they wouldn't pull that purple into the yellow. So I used Fresh Freesia, Mint Macarons, Soft Sea Foam, Petal Pink, and So Saffron. Here I'm using stitched rectangles to pop these up and do some more decorating. So you'll see that in a minute. So anyway, garden time. So I drove today, the time that I'm recording this, I drove out to a little ranch near where we live that sells soils and dirts and gravel and all kinds of things. Anyways, they have some certified organic compost, and I was really excited to get a full truckload of that. And I am telling you guys, it is hot and stinky, which means it's really good compost. So my husband cut a couple of wine barrels in half and filled those, and we are going to put tomatoes in those this year. We have a garden area that we are going to plant in as well. And we are just getting all the things ready. I have a pot that I'm going to plant some lemon basil in, and we're working on getting all the things prepared and ready for the garden season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how these go, how the garden goes this year. Each year is kind of an experiment. This year, I'm going to try really hard to keep a garden journal and write down like when we plant certain things, what they are, all of those things, because every year I do stuff and then I forget the next year what I did. So this year I want to make sure that I write it down so that next year I can reference it, and the things that do really well we can repeat, and the things that don't do well we can not repeat, if that makes sense. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what else is happening. I was going to tell you something else and it left my mind. Now I can't remember what it was. Okay, we'll talk about the card until it comes back into my brain. So here I'm using the fun masking technique where you mask off part of your stamp and then you do the stamping. I did this on the other card with the bunny as well. I really like this sentiment stacked better than I like it all one. So that is an easy way to do it. I know that you can cut your stamps apart, but it kind of gives me hives to do that. So I just don't. It's not my thing. And then here we're doing the splatter technique again. As you can see, I'm repeating some of the same techniques in these cards because they were on my brain. And truth be told, I absolutely love the splatter technique. It's one of my favorites. And I just don't do it very often. I need to do it more. So anyway, back to life. So we are getting all the garden stuff prepared. I'm definitely planting Roma tomatoes again because they did the best last year. Roma tomatoes aren't super awesome for flavor, but they're really good for like canning and using in sauces and stuff like that. And I made some killer salsa with them last year. Last year was the first year that I really learned how to make salsa the right way. I've never, I had tried it different ways, and every time it kind of just came out like pico de gallo. And last year I found out that if I roast my tomatoes and peel the skins and all of that, it just comes out phenomenal. So definitely going to be making more salsa this year and sharing it. I want to make it and I want to share it. Okay. So here I'm stamping all of these little chicks. So I stamped them first in So Saffron ink, and then I'm just stamping their little feet in petal pink, so that their feet they actually kind of come across as orange. And petal pink technically is a pink, but it kind of reads with like orange undertones to me. So I don't know, I could be wrong, maybe it doesn't, but that's how it looks to me. So here on these chicks, it provided a very soft, subtle orangey look to their feet, which, by the way, my child makes fun of me for how I say orange because she thinks it's funny. You tell me, do I say it weird? I don't know. I've been made fun of my whole life for how I say certain words. All I can tell you is I was raised by Texans and Oklahomans, and they say words funny. My mom says wash with an R in it. Okay? Wash. That's how she says it. That's how my grandmother said it. That's how my grandpa said it. And we say all kinds of weird things in our words. I don't hear it. I don't notice it because that's how I speak, but other people notice it and have commented my whole life on it. It is what it is, people. I'm 41. It ain't changing now. If you don't like how I talk, I guess, I don't know what, they can listen to somebody else talk. But anyway, that's how that is. So here I'm just adding my little chicks down, and I wanted to start with the one in the center to kind of get them evenly spaced and make sure that I didn't end up with one chick going way off the end. Speaking of chicks, back to Wendy's life, we have 10 chickens. The flock keeps getting smaller. I think we have 10. Maybe we have 11. I don't know. People with chickens never know how many chickens they have. It's a thing. So anyway, our flock is definitely getting smaller year over year, and they are now busy. Let me tell you, girls, they are busy. They have been laying like crazy. We are getting 8 to 10 eggs a day. I currently have 2 18 packs of eggs in my refrigerator, a bowl full of eggs, and eggs sitting on the counter. So I think what I'm going to do is isn't this cute? It turned out so cute. We have one more card to go. So if you're still hanging with me, God bless you. This one we're going to use the Daffodil Daydreams for. And you can see that I've filmed these at different times because the lighting is a little bit different in each one. Sorry about that. Anyways, so here we're doing the splatter technique again. This is not new, people. You know me. Okay, so we're doing the splatter technique again because I want that splatter in the background. Water painter, squeeze a little water out, pick up some ink, and then just splatter away. So, the eggs are overrunning us. My husband eats 3-ish eggs a day every morning for breakfast, and he can't keep up. So we're definitely going to be giving some eggs away here this coming weekend. My friend Laura and my friend Milena are coming to visit, and we're going to go up to a winery and have lunch and hang out, probably have a couple glasses of wine. And they both love homegrown eggs. Well, let me take that back. Laura could care less about a homegrown egg, I think. But her husband, Zlatan, loves homegrown eggs, farm fresh eggs. So back in their home country, so Milena is from Serbia and Zlatan is from Bosnia. and they grew up on farm fresh eggs. So they really noticed the difference between store-bought eggs and fresh farm eggs. And so he absolutely loves it when I give him eggs. And he always talks about the yolk, which is true. If you've ever cracked a store-bought egg next to a farm fresh egg, you will be shocked. The yolk in a farm fresh egg is almost orange. It is super dark. It's like a golden orange, deep yellow color, kind of the color of that I'm coloring this daffodil. Actually, it's even darker. So really quick, back to the card here on the daffodil. I'm using watercolor pencils from Stampin' Up. I colored Daffodil Delight for the daffodil and then went over it with orange in the areas that I wanted to be darker. And then I used Granny Apple Green for the leaves and colored over the top of that with the Garden Green for it to be darker. If you use a really light hand when you're coloring, that will work best for watercolor pencils or any colored pencil. They have wax on them. And so what happens is when you push hard and you use a heavy hand, that wax transfers to the paper. And I mean, it's going to transfer anyway, but it's worse if you use a heavy hand. And then it makes it where you can't get colors to blend together. So if you use a really light hand and be patient and just color it with more layers versus coloring it harder, you're going to get a much prettier image, colored image, and your colors will blend together much easier. I know you can't really see a lot of the blending here on the screen. The video doesn't really do it justice, but in real life, it's really beautiful. And then we're going to add a final touch at the very end that you'll see that really brings the whole thing together. So I use those stitch rectangles again, and I die cut from Pacific Point, and I'm just covering this with an embossing buddy, and then I'm stamping in Versamark ink, and we're going to white heat emboss, and then we'll pull the whole card together. And I have a couple more tricks to show you. So back to my friends. So they definitely noticed the difference. And of course, because I have farm fresh eggs, I noticed the difference. And here's a fun fact for you. A fun Wendy family fact. My husband is allergic to eggs. So when we were dating and early in our marriage, he loves eggs but could never eat eggs because he would break out, his hands would crack and peel. It's kind of a weird reaction, right? Here's another tip I have for you. Here I'm using a Night of Navy marker and I am coloring the white crinkled seam binding ribbon. This ribbon is fantastic. If you don't have some of this ribbon in your stash, you might want to pick some up in my online store because you can do this with it. You can use Stampin' Blend markers, which are alcohol based. Now this is where you can't use a water-based marker. You can use an alcohol-based marker and you can color the ribbon whatever color you need it to be. So I didn't have any Pacific Point ribbon. So I picked the color that would work the best, the closest, and I used that. I really wanted Pacific Point ribbon, but at last this worked. I tried tying this bow 15 times, by the way, and I had to edit the video because I think 10 minutes of this was me trying to figure out how to tie this bow and get it to look good. Anyway, I digress. Back to my storytelling, we're almost out of time. So husband, hands crack when he eats eggs. So we get married and I say to him one day, what about organic eggs? Meh, 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 meh. He gives me all the fluff about the organic stuff. I'm the foodie. I am the granola head in this house. My husband has eaten salami out of the dash of his truck, okay? That has been sitting there for more than a day. We are not the same people. We opposites attract, right? He helps me be a little less crazy. I help him tune into life a little bit more. We're a great combo. So anyways, he kind of poo-poos me. And so finally I get him to try the organic eggs. And miraculously, no breakout. I am not kidding you. So there is something in store-bought eggs that my husband is allergic to. That if he eats organic eggs from the store, he's fine. And if he eats our farm fresh eggs, he is fine. Now we buy only organic chicken feed and we let our chickens free range. So we've never tried any other type of chicken feed because my assumption is there is either something in the food or something that the chickens themselves are getting treated with in factories that is what my husband's allergic to. It's not the egg itself. It's that we put all this crap in our food, and that is a whole nother story time I cannot even start, because I will get on a soapbox that will last us 14 million years and you all will quit watching my channel. So you just don't want to even have me go down this road. But the bottom line is the people, I don't know who does it, but somebody makes these dumb decisions to put gross stuff in all of our food. And that's why we have so much of the disease and issues we have in America, because we have all these toxins in our food. Okay, I digress. I will not start. But he can eat eggs with no problem as long as they're farm fresh organic eggs. No issue. 3 a day, never breaks out, never, his hands never crack, nothing. You give that man one egg from the store and it's over. He's got issues. So that's that. So my friends are coming up this weekend. I've already told them I have eggs waiting for them. They are thrilled. They would drive up here just to get the eggs. You know, we live pretty rural. They live in town in the city. So it's a little bit of a jaunt for them to come visit me. Or for me to go visit them. But it's my turn. I've been down that way the last few times, so they're coming this way. And we're going to take a little stroll up to one of the local wineries here. The weather is supposed to be really beautiful, and yeah, it's supposed to be in the 80s here next week, folks. That's crazy to me. So here's my finished daffodil card. I love it. And I really don't feel like, again, the video is doing it justice. It's much prettier in person. And we're just going to add a little thing to the inside so that when I want to write my message inside, I'm able to do that without, you know, using a white pen or something. And then on the front, I'm going to add a few little embellishments. I kind of had a hard time deciding if I wanted to add embellishments. And then I had a hard time deciding what embellishments I wanted to add. At the end of the day, I added some cute ones. Here, I'm doing the Wink of Stella treatment. So the great thing about this is I used watercolor pencils, but I didn't watercolor with them. So if you grab a Wink of Stella, it's nice and damp and it's shimmery, and you can just go over all the coloring that you did, and it will just bring all that blending together perfectly and give it an even smoother finished look. And this card turned out fantastic. I just love the colors, and I absolutely love the shimmer. And it's not lost on me that, again, I've done a blue and yellow card. So there you go. We're just continuing to love and support Ukraine in all that they're going through. So, yeah, here I decided to add these. I cannot even remember the name of these embellishments. I will make sure to link them in the supply list. But they're so pretty. Aren't they pretty? I just love them. And I don't use them enough. I need to use them more often. I used them a lot when they first came out, and now I haven't as much. So anyway, that's kind of what I have planned for the weekend. We're also planning to take a trip to Reno. Today, when you're watching this, we may be or may not be going. It's supposed to be snowing up that way, so we're not 100% sure. But yeah, just some fun things planned for the weekend. I hope you have a good weekend as well. Make sure to drop me a comment. Shop with me at shoploveandstampin.com if you need any of the products that you saw me use today. I always appreciate your orders, and I will catch you on Tuesday at noon in my next video. Bye-bye. Have a good one.